The cornerback position. It's a position coming into the offseason that we knew might be an issue, mainly due to lack of depth concerns. Now, we were able to go get Blye Hill in the transfer portal, and I'm going to get into a little bit of his game today. Now, why is the cornerback position essential and defensive backs in general essential for the 3-3-5 defense? Well, the 3-3-5 defense is designed to keep up with the spread offenses in today's modern college football world. They like to get guys in space. They like to use speed and athleticism, and it's one of the ways to keep up. And in the Big Ten, you still got to deal with the power offenses as well, but there's a lot more spread it out and getting guys in space. The 3-3-5 essentially will take a defensive lineman, replace it with a defensive back, and that will keep you up to speed in terms of just being able to match them speed for speed, athletically, etc. Now, the way you get away with kind of facing power run teams, etc., or those power formations is you bring guys down and you do a different number of stunts, etc. You kind of mix it up, fill the gaps with linebackers, defensive backs, bring them down, etc. It's a lot of different looks. It's a lot of variation, a lot of guys moving all over the place to create confusion. Now, I say that to say, it is still an area of concern considering Blye Hill went down with injury. And for all intents and purposes, it appears that he will be back at least in the first month of the season, hopefully before. We know when he went down the spring game with Demetrius Bell, his was listed as semi-significant as opposed to Demetrius Bell, who will be out for the season, of course. Now, Blye Hill is one of those guys that was a guy that I really liked, mainly because of his length, and he has a lot of the physical attributes that you need in a cornerback. And he's our longest cornerback that we got on the team. And it was one of those that we needed to fill that with a taller, longer cornerback. And he was seemingly in position to land the cornerback 2 spot. I believe when he returns, he will still do that. However, Matt Rule tends to be conservative with injury management. So we will see how that goes. We will see who will fill in the meantime. But I'm going to get into a little bit of why Blye Hill is one of the guys that I really liked out of this portal. He was our lowest ranking portal guy. So, almost kind of flew under the radar, but was put onto the maps of people during the spring, and hopefully into fall camp. We'll be able to, we'll kind of come at the end of the summer, who knows? We'll see, kind of getting updates, but there's not a lot of updates out there on his injury, but it's looking like he will be back at some point in the early part of the season. So going into Blye Hill, now a couple of things that off the top that I really like about Blye Hill. Now, his dad, Leroy, was an NFL linebacker, and his mom was an athlete as well. Now, a couple of the things that Matt Rule had mentioned about him is the fact that he was under-recruited due to the size of the school, but he has the right brain. He's mature enough to handle the coaching, and he gives a lot of credit to the parents. His dad, again, was in the NFL, so he probably knew what Blye Hill needed in terms of coaching to get him ready for the collegiate and NFL level. Now, one of the reasons why Blye Hill is underrated was because he didn't play at a big college either, so competition was one of those things that when you look at the film, they really pay attention to. Now, we've seen guys dominate lesser competition and be able to come into the league or come into college football and be able to transition over and dominate there as well. You're seeing a lot of these transitions in the high school game and the college game where they're all kind of tailoring towards the next level a little bit to get these guys in preparation. Now, going through Blye Hill's stats in college, played 9 games, 21 tackles, 1 TFL, 6 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. Okay. Now mirror that with college or with his high school performance, 22 pass breakups, 13 of those as a senior, and 2 interceptions. Okay. So transitioning from high school to college, it was one of those where he seemed to have a similar stat line and was able to create havoc, 2 interceptions, both in college and in high school. But you'll see a lot of what shows up in his game is not going to show up necessarily in the stat sheets, but it really makes him a nightmare for wide receivers to match up with, just because he is so smart in terms of how he disguises his coverage and his closing speed, etc. So I'm going to go through his film a little bit. I'm going to get into a player comparison at the end of this. This player is in the NFL. Now, mind you, this player is really, really good. Okay. So I understand that. But when I'm talking about certain details of his game, there's certain aspects of his game that mirror this player. Now, I I put him at a decaf version of it, essentially, because, you know, in the NFL, you can't really compare some of these guys to guys that are already in the NFL. And I know people rip people to shreds for doing this, but you have to understand that's part of the process. And just mirroring the game, size, etc., and just what makes him good. And I'll go through the pros and cons at the end of this. So let's go ahead and get into the film. Now, I will say he did have the third most pass breakups in a single game against Duquesne, 4 pass breakups, and he has a lot of opportunities in this offseason to show himself, and he showed out. So, you do have the thing about him coming from a smaller school. However, he has stepped up and shown against, this Nebraska team and shown this coaching staff that he can step up against these guys, and he has shown his ability to perform. They talked about he had 3 or 4 chances to make plays, and he made them. 3 years of eligibility left, which is huge, but not a lot of college film. So today I'm going to go through a little bit of his high school film, a couple minutes of his midseason highlights, and I'm going to show you a little bit of what I like about him. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and bring this up here. All right, here we go. Blye Hill's film. Let me get him off the screen here for you so you can see this full film study here. So, all right. First thing you're going to notice about Blye is he is off the ball a lot. He likes to play off the ball because he has really, really good closing speed. Now, this first highlight is him at receiver. And one of the things that I like about him playing receiver, and you'll see it throughout his film, is his tracking ability and his ball skills. So here he is over here playing off the ball, but watch the closeout speed. Watch the play recognition here. Okay. That quarterback's releasing. He's about 4 yards deep. The timing is perfect. The closing speed is perfect. He knows timing. You'll see that throughout his film. He knows timing. So here we go. I'm going to let it run. Perfect timing. Gets there, gets his hand in there, breaks the pass up. All right. Moving on to the next one. This is a fumble. So this one is a forced fumble, but there was a couple people in on it. But what I like to see about this is when he tackles, he gets his hat to the football, which is what you want to do. Upfield, you see him right there, closing speed, gets his shoulder on the football. So that's what you want. You would like to see him get a little bit more balanced in terms of when he's tackling that, not be on his heels. However, still able to make a play on the ball and had help there. So moving on to the third or fourth play here. I can't remember which one we're on. Okay, so again, off ball, as you see, he plays a lot of off ball, but that is due to his ability to close the gap quickly. It's almost like he likes to bait them into the throws. Right there. Again, he gets the outside arm onto the ball, knocks the ball free, but he has this extra arm over here wrapped around this wide receiver just in case he does make the catch. He has the ability to also make the tackle. Let it run again, closes out. Perfect timing, perfect play, uses the right hand, is able to get his other arm around him just in case he makes that catch and it sneaks through his arm. All right, off the ball here again. You'll see a lot of closing speed here as well. Throws it out to this running back right here. Now, what he does here is he's able to run this blocker. He keeps his eyes on the play. Even though he's getting blocked here, he keeps his eyes on the play, and he makes his blocker follow him to the play. Now watch, we'll run it back. Watch him here. Comes outside. He's getting held, but he still takes himself to the outside and is able to get the outside leverage. The running back goes outside and he's able to get there and make the tackle. All right. Another one right here. Off the ball again. You see how far off the ball he plays. That is a indication of how much they trust his closing speed, his ball hawk skills, and his tracking skills. Now, ball skills is one of the most underrated part of being a cornerback, in my opinion. And I'll get into that a little bit more in a second. So right here, they do a little pump fake, release. His eyes are on him. Sticks with him. Able to get a shoulder. Now, he forces the receiver off of his spot. Now, both people have a right to this red line right here, right? The receiver's job is to try to keep the cornerback from forcing him towards that sideline and taking the inside positioning. But Blye Hill does a great job of taking the inside positioning and forcing him off his spot. Now, watch. He's almost going to force him without interfering past where the ball is going to go. He has to try to make a play underneath. Blye Hill's able to get his hand in there and break up the play. All right, here we go. Another one right here. playing off the ball again, about 10 yards. Diagnoses it. Now, there is a play I'm going to show you in a little bit to the NFL comparison that reminds me of this play right here. And this is one of the reasons why I'm gonna bring that play up at the end of it. But this play right here. So keep this play in mind. Okay. Off the ball here. All right. The quarterback's going to throw the ball. Now watch where Blye Hill was in terms of where the receiver was. He was about 3 or 4 yards off. And not only does he come over in time to make the play, but he is able to get in front of the receiver. So it's not one of those things where he's 3 or 4 yards off and is just able to come over and make the play. He's able to basically get in front of the defender. He trusts his ball skills and his tracking skills so much. He leaves that open over the top. He knows he has a little bit of help, but is able to come underneath and almost nearly get the interception there. Now, those are the little details that matter. That's the ball hawk skills that I'm talking about. That's the tracking skills that I'm talking about that will make him good at the next level. Also, he plays receiver. Receivers, they know ball skills. So I can't stress enough how much I love cornerbacks with good ball skills. All right, moving forward. Now, this is another instance where he's able to close out, and not only close out, he's able to make a play on the football. He knows when to make a play on the ball. He knows when to make a play on the receiver. Here, closeout speed, gets underneath it again. Great play recognition. Now, he reads the quarterback's eyes the entire way. He doesn't necessarily have to look at the receiver. He knows where the receiver's at in his peripherals, and he's able to attack based on when the quarterback releases the ball, and the quarterback's eyes tell him where the ball is going to go. Another time, he's off the ball. Now, look how far off the ball he is here. Again, quarterback's already released the ball. Blye's back here. Receiver's right here. Watch this closeout. Boom. Just like that, he's able to close out, get his hands on that ball, and knock it free. And he gets there just in perfect time. In perfect time to get there to be able to stop it. Boom. And is able to knock it free. Doesn't get there too early. Doesn't get there late. Just on the perfect amount of time. And you'll see sometimes he hesitates. He knows his timing. So he'll hesitate to make sure he doesn't get there early. Here, press man. Now, you won't see a lot of press man. And that's because, again, he trusts his off-ball skills. Now, he forces the receiver outside. He doesn't let the receiver get the inside leverage, which forces him up the sideline. And now, again, he is basically bullying that receiver off of his spot. That receiver can't turn around and make this play because Blye Hill's in his kitchen right there. I like that. In his kitchen. Boom. Okay. That is what you want to see. It's a level of physicality there that goes under the radar because, you know, the receiver is going to their entire job is to fight for that spot. So if you as a cornerback can get them off that spot without interfering, without holding, that is a skill in and of itself that is very, very underrated. Now, again, off the ball here. Tracks it the whole way. He's able to keep his eyes, get his head around, keep his eyes on the ball. And he's going to get up, and the wide receiver ends up having to play DB here and knock the ball free. But you see him go up and high point the ball. This is ball skills again. Watch him high point the ball. Now, the receiver has to go up and play defensive back. And that's what you want to do. You want to run the route for them. You want to put yourself in a position to be able to make the play that they want to make and make them play DB so they're not going for the ball. Off the ball here again. Play recognition, closeout speed, makes the tackle, gets the lower leverage. That's a big thing when you're an undersized guy in terms of your weight. You want to get lower than the other guy. So here. He's outside. The running back's going to cut inside. Watch the move on the inside. Just a little shun to the side with his hands. Gets low and is able to make the play on the running back. Good tackle. Good leverage there. All right, right here on the right side. He's taking this guy off the end. Now he gets blocked here, but again, keeps his eyes on the football. That's a big part of this, is keeping his eyes on the football, recognizes the play, and is able to get off and make the tackle at the last second. Here he is again, off the ball. Now, this one, I really like the play recognition here because he is going to be a little bit out of position here because he's going to be breaking on this route that number 4 is running right here. Okay, so he starts that break. But now he sees that the ball, because his eyes are in the backfield looking for the ball. He sees that this running back has the ball. Now watch the closeout. Boom. And is able to stop him at the 1-yard line. Now that's important because Nebraska's defense had a lot of goal line stands last year. So it's one of those things that he didn't get in the end zone and he didn't give up on the play just because he got down to the 1-yard line. He was able to recognize that play quick enough to be able to get in there and close out and make that play, even though his responsibility was that receiver at the edge. Another one here, off the ball. Now this one's going to show his closeout speed. Okay. Quarterback's in his throwing motion. Blye's right here. Got his eyes. He already knows the quarterback's releasing the ball. Got his eyes in the backfield. Now watch this break. Tackles the receiver back behind where he started. Now that is another thing here. So when the quarterback releases this ball, he was about four yards off. Okay. Now the receiver is going to try to take a step back just to get around him, but watch him force him backwards. He's able to square up and make the tackle, doesn't arm tackle, doesn't over pursue, makes the tackle, is able to wrap him up and bring him down. That's another thing, wrapping people up, especially when you're an undersized guy, when you got long arms, be able to wrap those guys up and bring them down. All right, off the line here again, or off the ball here again. Play recognition right here. Now, one of the things you'll notice about here, his speed, but also his smart. Right? His intelligence shows here because he is going to see the running back make a play here, balance right there, gets his hands on him, understands that he might not be able to make the play there, but continues to pursue and is able to get on that running back. So watch it again. The closeout speed, watch him maintain his balance. He doesn't go for the tackle too early. He doesn't panic, waits for the moment, takes a good angle, lets him get to the sideline, and he brings him out. Now, this is what you like to see, a little bit of special teams. I like to always have some special teams in here. But he's on the hands team, which is always good. Now, what you'll see here, both of these guys coming up are going to knock these two guys off of the ball, basically. Essentially, what they're going to do is they're going to come in and they're going to attack the players, and then that leaves them available to get the ball. Now, watch him come in there, break that up, be able to take the guy out who was originally going to get it, and his teammates able to come in and jump on the football. And now for the player comparison. Now, I know he's in the NFL. I know he was one of the top recruits in his class, maybe second or third. But Derek Stingley has some of the best ball skills in the NFL. He's been working on ball skills since he was 6 years old, okay? Now, watch this play. Jalen Petrie, former Matt Rule recruit, played for him at Baylor, was a very low-rated recruit, and Matt Rule developed him into a NFL safety, and he's been killing it. You know, he has some coverage stuff, but he's a downhill type of player, very good at closing speed, run blocking, etc. But watch Derek Stingley on this play. Now, there's a lot of good play recognition here. Basically, essentially what's going to happen is he's going to run, Judy's going to run an out and up, and Sutton's going to run a dig and up. Cashman's going to come out here and cover this out. Petrie's job is to bite down on this little dig here and this underneath route, and Stingley's going to help over the top. But watch Stingley's tracking ability and ball skills here. This is what makes the difference. Okay. Here's the dig. Okay. Russell Wilson's releasing the ball here. Look where Derek Stingley is on this play. Now watch the closing speed. Not only does he come over and make a play on the ball, he watches the ball and runs the route for him, is able to get up and get the interception. High points the ball at his highest point and is able to get in there and get the interception. Now let's watch it from a different angle. Russell Wilson checks, the defense checks. Blake Cashman goes to the outside, releases the ball. Stingley, you know, the ball's about 10 yards away. Stingley's coming over across, but not only does he get over and make the play, he gets in front of the receiver, goes up and gets the ball, takes it away from him. That is what you want to see from a defensive back. So now I'm going to get into a little bit of the pros and cons here, just so y'all can see kind of what I found overarching on the film. Now the pros, again, ball tracking, play recognition, closing speed, man coverage, off the ball. We want to see a little bit more press man, but you know that's probably something they were working with him in this offseason. Length. He has very long arms. He knows how to use them. He knows how to high point the ball. Football IQ. He's great at closing. He's great at identifying the play. He's great at knowing where to be and how to time the defensive back. You know, it's one of those things. as a DB, your timing needs to be perfect, right? And all we see throughout his film is perfect timing. There's not a lot of, again, it's a highlight film. So there's not a lot of plays that are negative shown on there. However, just in researching him and looking back now, again, against a little bit lesser competition, both in high school and college, but still, he has come in and earned the cornerback 2 spot on this team, impressed the coaches. Now, the cons, of course, the injury. But again, we dodged a bullet there that was what they call semi-significant patella tendon. Competition, again, another weakness there in press man. So player comp, like I said, a decaf version of Derek Stingley. I get it, but he's an NFL guy. I get it. But with a lot of these players, you just look for those little details that kind of match other players. They'll mirror him to an NFL player and people will lose their minds. But we're not saying he's going to be that guy. We're saying a lot of what he has in his game matches that. And he has the ability to be a lesser version of that. And who knows, he may develop into being a very, very good player who eventually makes it to the NFL. 3 years of eligibility left, a lot of time to develop. So Blye Hill is one of the guys I am most excited about. He's probably my favorite transfer portal addition, again, outside of Jamal Banks and Stephon Thompson. Stephon Thompson's my favorite, and I did a film study on him back before. Now, again, I had somebody comment that they liked the way I ended the video last time, so I don't ramble at the end here and y'all click away. So I'll see you on the next video. Peace.